Cheers erupted across the steps of Victoria's Parliament, a thunderous roar from thousands gathered under grey skies and growing emotion. Among them stood Travis Lovett, Yoorrook Justice Commissioner, completing a journey that was never just about distance. 508 kilometres, 25 days. One truth. He had walked through wind, hail, and wintry rains. Across rivers, highways, and ancient songlines. From Gunditjmara Country in Portland to the heart of Melbourne, Lovett carried more than a message, he carried the weight of generations. The silence ends here, he declared, his voice echoing over the crowd. The time of not knowing, of choosing not to know, is over. It wasn't just a walk. It wasn't just history. It was truth. In motion. With purpose. With pain. With power. Truth-telling is not a ritual, he continued. It's not symbolic. It's a reckoning. It's a commitment to change. That change began with his feet, stepping into memory, into resistance, into places where the past still lingers heavy in the air. The Yoorrook Commission, 4 years in the making, is preparing to deliver a historic report. A document that details what colonisation did, and continues to do, to Victoria's First Peoples. And now, it begins to shape the future. Because the truth feeds into something bigger, the treaty. A statewide negotiation between First Nations peoples and the government, the first of its kind in Australia. It all began in Gunditjmara Country. His country, where settlement struck the earth with arrogance. Where the smoke from ancient fires was ignored. Where the claim of terra nullius cast long shadows. He walked from those shadows toward the light. Toward the steps of power. Toward a reckoning. In our culture, Lovett said, we listen before we talk. That listening has now ended the long pause before truth. Before treaty. Before transformation. His journey began with 500 people. But by the time the march reached Melbourne, that number swelled to 3,000. And on that walk, stories flowed like rivers. Conversations cut deeper than blisters. Hearts opened. Tears fell. Laughter rose. Stolen generations survivor Lionel Ducasis met cousins he never knew. The power of family, the ache of memory, the strength of healing, they all walk beside him. When I'm on the phone to my kids or grandkids, I tell them I love them, Ducasis said. Because I never heard that. And as a kid, those are the words you want to hear, I love you. This walk was not ceremonial. It was sacred. Lovett carried a message stick. Etched with symbols. Signed with initials. Scored with hope. One that carried the voices of those who walked with him. He delivered it not just to the government, but to all of Victoria. This message stick comes with expectations, he said. Expectations that the government will implement Yoorrook's recommendations. He had another message, for the opposition, who withdrew bipartisan support for the treaty after the voice referendum failed. We are giving this to you, he said. We as people have expectations on you, too, to support truth-telling and treaty. This wasn't just about policy. It was about presence. Lovett exchanged message sticks from country to country. In the old way, respectfully, with meaning. When we walk through other people's country, he explained, we have always taken a message stick to let them know our intentions. This journey was not straight. Not smooth. It twisted and turned, just like history. A path drawn across country, Lovett said. Never straight, never simple. It bent with memory, with resistance, with the shape of old scars but new hope. Hope walked beside him. He walked for his children. So they could dance, not in mourning, but in celebration. He walked for all children. So they could grow up in a state where their history is known, not buried. He walked in the footsteps of William Barak, the great Wurundjeri leader who once marched to Parliament House with placards and resolve. Since 1856, Parliament has made decisions that have controlled and segregated First Peoples' lives, Lovett said. But it's also the place where we can transform our futures. Not just for First Peoples, but for all Victorians. The road was long. The terrain was harsh. But spirits never broke. They were lifted by moments. Of music. Of memory. Of laughter shared under gum trees. There were tears. For what was lost. But there was laughter, too, for what was found. This walk rewrote the story of what unity can look like. It wasn't perfect. But it was powerful. It wasn't easy. But it was necessary. The energy. Transformative. The conversations, raw. The message, clear. From town to town, from country to country, every step declared, we are still here. Guided by local traditional owners, the route was stitched together through stories, histories, and old scars. It began where the first wounds were struck. It ended where change must begin. On the steps of Parliament. Before crowds that stretched across streets. Among signs, songs, and sovereign pride. This is not the end. It's the beginning of a new chapter. The Yoorrook report will be delivered. And Victoria must answer, not with platitudes, not with delay, but with action, with truth, with treaty, with transformation. Commissioner Lovett didn't walk alone. He walked with ancestors, with families, with stories, with the future. He walked with pain, and with purpose, And now, that purpose stands at the door of power. Will Victoria listen? The silence has ended. The truth has arrived.